What's up guys, Chris here with Strength and Steel Reviews. Today I'm taking a look at the Megastar P63 all-in-one power rack. A compact power rack with a cable pulley system, multi-grip pull-up bar, landmine attachment, and a rowing platform. Megastar also includes J-cups, safety arms, cable attachments, and more, with the total somehow amounting only to $800. That's a lot of bang for your buck, but $800 is still nothing to sneeze at. And as we know, more doesn't necessarily mean better. Which leads us to a question. Is this a hidden gem, or is it just another budget rack trying to do too much? Let's get into it. Before we dive in, a quick shout out to Nono, the marketing specialist at Megastar. He has been extraordinarily kind and patient as I introduced my son into this strange world and needed to delay this review. Good customer service is not as common as it should be, but thankfully at Megastar, it does appear to be the standard. Now, full transparency, Megastar did send me this rack to build and test. I didn't pay for it, but you know how I do things. If it's great, I'll say so. If it sucks, I'll say that too. I've trained with the P63, I've tested it, and now it's time to break down how it actually performs and whether I think it's worth your money. So if by the end of this video you are interested, check out the link below in the description to find the P63 rack. All right, we should probably start with assembly. So building this thing took me and my buddy about 3 hours. And let me tell you right now, the instructions are rough. You don't get step-by-step written directions, just diagrams and images with arrows pointing in all kinds of directions. It felt like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle without the corner pieces. And for any of you wondering why I hold such resentment for the assembly of exercise equipment, this is why. We had to backtrack multiple times because certain parts just weren't clearly labeled, or because we would just miss something, simple as that sounds. But it happens here. You really have to pay attention, and even then, it's easy to miss a step. Overall, it wasn't a nightmare to put together, but it definitely could have been smoother with better instructions. That said, once it's up and running, the P63 does feel solid, especially for the price. Megastar uses 2x3 uprights with 14 gauge steel, which is not commercial grade, but for a home gym setup, it gets the job done. The weld looks clean, the powder coat is a basic matte black, which is about what you and I should expect from a budget rack, and overall it still looks pretty. It's a nice looking rack. But here's something that did annoy me almost immediately. The uprights aren't labeled. You've got 1-inch hole spacings, which is great, but without numbers, it becomes a hassle to align attachments like your J-cups or your cable trolleys. You end up manually counting holes every single time, which isn't the end of the world, but it slows things down and feels like somewhat of an oversight. Laser cutting some numbers into the uprights would not have been a great expense, and for a rack packed with this many features, I really think it should have been included. Okay, let's talk about the cable system, because that's one of the biggest selling points here, at least for me. I love a functional trainer, and the P63 features a plate-loaded dual pulley setup with a 2-to-1 ratio, meaning that you're lifting half the weight that you load onto this thing. So if you slap on 100 pounds, you're actually pulling 50 pounds. Now, this is generally pretty typical for functional trainers, but it does mean that you're going to need a lot of plates to load this up properly. And no, as a heads up, plates are not included. The pulleys themselves are decent, they're not commercial grade smooth, but they're better than I expected overall for the price. There is some friction in spots, but a little lubricant went a long way. And after that, things moved much more cleanly. The P63 isn't going to glide like a commercial grade machine. I can't say that enough. But hopefully you expect that already. Remember, this is a budget rack. Overall, the functional trainer feels good, it gets the job done, and I'd certainly rather have it than not. Now, one of the biggest strengths of the P63 is what's included. For under 800 bucks, you get the rack, the pulley system, spotter arms, J-cups, a landmine, and a handful of cable attachments. Other than plates and a barbell, you don't really need to buy anything else, which is nice because when most people think about budget racks, they don't consider these additional factors. That said, the included handles are cheap. If you're not picky, they'll do the job. I've trained with worse, but if you care about handle feel, grip comfort or long-term durability, you're probably still gonna wanna upgrade at some point in the future. Still, for the price, I think it's a huge plus that Megastar includes so much out of the gate. You can literally start training as soon as you finish building it, assuming you've got your own weights, bar, and bench ready to go. Okay, let's talk functionality. So the P63 does its job, and it does it well. I can hit all of the major compound movements without issue, and the trolleys on the functional trainer glide up and down pretty smoothly. I mean, it's not a dream to use, let's be real, but for a budget rack, it does feel solid and it feels responsive. Personally, I get irritated with plate loading systems. They're time consuming and they devour plates, but there's no denying the value when you skip selectorized stacks. You save a ton and you get full cable functionality. There are 2 grips for the pull-up bars and they have rubberized handles, which some people complain about, but honestly, I don't mind them. There's also barbell storage here, which is a huge plus, and the included dip attachment is actually surprisingly effective and it's easy to tuck away. Bottom line, for a rack that's just under 800 bucks, you can get a complete workout without cutting corners. No major compromises here. So how does the P63 stack up against the competition? Well, when compared to the RitFit PP03, you've got 2 racks clearly aiming at the same budget-conscious home gym crowd. Both offer a power rack with a plate-loaded cable system, a pull-up bar, landmine attachment, and dip handles. So what's the difference? Well, the P63 tends to be more compact from front to back, and it includes a rowing plate out of the box, and it comes with slightly more refined cable adjustability, 17 different positions, while the RitFit PP03 includes built-in plate storage and has more upright mounted accessory pegs, which could appeal to users who have more plates or more accessories to manage. But ultimately, both racks offer serious value under 800 bucks. The RitFit PP03 is a little bit cheaper. I think the P63 wins on space efficiency and included attachments like a rowing platform. And while the PP03 might edge ahead in price and in storage and overall frame size, I think they're both really good options when it does come down to footprint and feature priority. Okay, final verdict. So where does the Megastar P63 land here? For under $800, I think it delivers a surprising amount of functionality. It's not flawless. The instructions are frustrating, the included handles are basic, and the plate-loaded system is not for the impatient. But once it's built, I do think it performs. The frame feels sturdy, the pulleys work better than I expected, and the number of included features make this a legitimate setup for most home gyms, especially if you're just getting started. So if you're a beginner building from scratch, or you're looking to add cable functionality without dropping thousands of dollars, the P63 is a legitimate contender. It's not the creme de la creme, it's a good budget rack. You're getting a rack, a pulley system, a pull-up bar, landmine, a dip station, and more, all in one footprint. And that's rare at this price point. No, it's not going to compete with commercial gear, but it doesn't need to. It's not trying to. It's trying to be a budget-friendly rack that makes the most of the space that's afforded to you. That said, if you've used the P63 or are considering using it, drop a comment below. What other budget racks do you recommend? Let me hear it. And if you found this helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, whatever. And as always, stay strong, stay steely, and I'll catch you in the next one.